No offense, but what are you wearing? Professor Dave came out with a video about the final experiment, I think yesterday, or maybe it was the day
Yep.
before yesterday. I don't know if any of you guys watched it, but Nathan Oakley. Apparently, Nathan Oakley was slapping his kid during one of his live streams. I don't know hardly anything about him, but I didn't know that. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I posted about that like a year ago.
oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
never. Oh, did you know Flatzoid is currently debating the moon landing on Modern Day Debate? It's like right now.
Dude, I'm
Have you?
surprised Flatzoid can breathe and tie his shoes at the exact same time.
His
I
co-guest is Marcus Allen, and I'm like, wait, the wide receiver for shit. What was Marcus Allen? He was a running back for the.
I don't know about Marcus
Raiders.
Allen, but I debated Flatzoid on Modern Day Debate before, and I've actually been wanting to get a rematch because basically I was bringing up how flight times, just like public information that anybody can verify for themselves, like what time flights arrive and depart, that's enough information that you need to definitively disprove that the Earth cannot be flat, just to have those flight times work out in a way that's physically realistic. And in response to that, he brought up that actually airplanes cannot physically fly on a globe because the Coriolis effect would just like blow them off by miles. Like he's just not capable of understanding conservational momentum and basic middle school physics.
I have an alternative theory. He doesn't think the Earth is flat because he says stuff like that. That's actually too stupid to be genuine. I had a he like stitched some video that I made, and I showed this experiment this guy did. He took a, I don't know what you call it, like a water level. He had like plastic piping, and he made a giant U with it, and so it self-leveled. And he was on top of a mountain, and he showed the camera and showed how it was perfectly level, and he showed that the mountain in the distance was below his line of sight, but that mountain was known to be of greater or equal height. Therefore, the Earth is curving away. And like I played that, and he paused the video and he said, "Parallax. It's a parallax. If you change your perspective, you can change where the thing is pointing to." And I was like, you fucking idiot. You can't parallax a level, because if you did, it would go like that. He
Wait, that
drew,
was Flatzoid?
yeah, he got on Microsoft Paint and he just drew a singular thing and then showed how if you go above it, oh, now my eyes are above, and if I go below, now my eyes are below. But it had two parts to it like this. So you can't parallax it or you'll see that it's not level. And from that moment on, I was like, "Oh, he doesn't think the Earth is flat." So it's just really obvious.
I think maybe I've just been doing debates with flat earthers for too long at this point, and I've become jaded and cynical. But I really think that it's like when you first said it was too stupid for flat earthers to believe, my immediate thought was, "Oh, that's cute. You think that there's a level of that's too stupid for flat earthers to believe." Like that was my very first thought. But like thinking back to the infamously stupid DIY experiments that Flatzoid is known for, like the stuff that he posts, like he tried it in the debate I had with him where he's like, "Can't you see clearly like what this image is showing?" And it just looks like nonsense. Like it literally he's just taking pictures of random objects in his room, and he's like, "This proves that the Earth is flat." And I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to even be seeing here? Like his experiments are just like cringe nonsense.
He posted a video that I actually ended up. I saw MC Toon make a video about it, and that's how I got tipped off to it. So I went to Flatzoid's channel. It was high altitude balloon footage. It was the YouTube channel is called David's Day. That's the guy. It used to be David Reynolds. Now it's David's Day. And I don't know why he did it, but he left like a whole spreadsheet of like the exact camera, helium balloons, how much helium was used, everything, like all the specs you would need. And it was only like $400 back in, I want to say, 2019. So it's probably even cheaper now. But Flatzoid posted this video, and once it gets up high enough, probably about 4.5 hours into the video, because it's like 5.5, you can see the Earth curving. And Flatzoid clipped that and put it on his YouTube and said, "See, look, clearly it's flat." Anybody who has eyeballs could tell it wasn't. The entire comment section was calling him out for it. So I grabbed the video real quick and then went back the next day and the video was gone. Flatzoid deleted it off of his channel.
Classic.
Of course.
Classic flat. So like it's too stupid even for a flat earther. What they do is they make up stuff that like either can't be tested or doesn't make any sense. But what Flatzoid said, that makes perfect sense. We all know that if you do that, that's so obviously not what was happening. It's exactly like what Tyler just said. Oh, look, it's flat well, that's not big enough, but as it's making a hump, look, it's flat. So that's where with him, I just realized, oh, he does not actually think the earth is flat.
I think that I mean I could see him being a grifter, and I think that he is grifting. But at the same time, like the way that I think about Flatzoid is that I think he does genuinely think that the Earth is flat, but he's so convinced that he's right about that he's willing to fabricate evidence to convince other people because he thinks, oh well, I'm lying in the service of the truth. Like I think he's so cognitively dissonant that he like has tricked himself into thinking that it's okay to lie and fabricate evidence as long as it's leading people towards the truth that he really believes. I think that that's the sort of psychology we're dealing with, but that's just my own like armchair psychoanalysis.
No offense, but what are you wearing?
I mean, like, you could have just asked that without the disclaimer of no offense, and it would have been a totally neutral, innocuous question. But with the disclaimer, now I'm thinking you're coming at me, but it's a t-shirt. It's got stars and plaid, and it's got, like, Lady Justice on it or something, I think.
Oh, okay.
We got a true American in here. That's freedom if I've ever seen it.
I thought it was like Pluto or something. I thought it was like a picture of the planet. I was like, what the heck is this? So, all right.
I thought maybe you were just getting in the Christmas spirit a little early. I saw the plaid and
what
like the white, and I don't know. I thought Christmas for some reason, but when you stood up, the Christmas illusion is gone.
How did you not?
I shattered your Christmas illusion. This is exactly like me as like a little atheist kid, because I was not raised Christian. I was never a believer. So this is like me as a little atheist kid going around shattering the Santa Claus illusions of all my students. I was kind of a little prick that year, honestly, whenever I like figured out that Santa Claus wasn't real, and my mom was like okay, don't tell any of the other kids, okay? And I was like, I won't. And then of course that was like the first thing I did, and I got in trouble in school for trying to like dissuade other kids of their Santa Claus belief.
Yeah, and you're like, little did my mom know that I did the morning announcements. I told everybody.
And in bonus news, Santa Claus is not Rick. Can you imagine? That would be so funny. We did that in 5th grade. You got to do the announcements in 5th grade. I think it was only once a week though, so like everybody got to do it like once during the school year. Did you guys all do morning announcements at school, or is it not a thing?
I never did, but all other students who were trustworthy did.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's smart of your school.
I was gonna say I never personally did it, but my kids at my school did. I don't remember what grade, but I was in like 1st grade, I think, whenever I was just thinking about the concept of Santa Claus and thought reindeer aren't aerodynamic. How can they fly? And for some reason, of everything, all the logistical impossibilities, everything, for some reason, flying reindeer when they don't have wings was the thing that, as a 1st grader, I was like, that's unbelievable. That must be untrue. And so that's what convinced me.
I want to think that I would have become probably like an atheist when I was really young if I had literally just thought about it once. Because I never did. Like what you said about the flying reindeer, like, well, they can't fly. So it's like, yeah, so there we go. I mean, I did disbelieve in like most of the stories. I was like, yeah, talking snake, no. The flood, like that obviously didn't happen, but whatever. But I just, for some reason, I never applied it to Jesus for whatever reason.
I don't know. When I was younger, I didn't like go to church because I had to. Okay, so believe it or not, in middle school, I got caught doing something that I shouldn't have been doing as a middle schooler, and I ended up getting like what was it?
Wait,
Like
were you paying your taxes? Were you voting? Were you
both.
buying dry ice?
I was all three actually.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and definitely nothing more, nothing more. No need to go into any more detail there. But I ended up getting community service,
As a
and
middle
the way,
schooler?
yeah,
Wow.
it wasn't a whole lot, right? But
You
it
bought
was,
a lot of dry ice, dude.
yeah. Maybe I'll have to go over this story with you guys another time about how it happened.
Yeah.
But uh, what was it? I ended up going to church like just as community service. I would show up there and I would set up the chairs and like help people set up their equipment and all that shit, just basic stuff. And I would stay for the service and then get a ride afterwards back home. And I'm gonna be honest, I never paid any attention to what they were talking about. I just believed it because there was a whole bunch of other people there, and I was like, wow, if this many people believe it, it must be true. I never questioned it at all. And then I don't know, probably when I turned like 16 or 17, there was just people that would like talk shit on religion at a lunch table across from me. And they actually brought up valid points. Granted, they were asshole little kids, but it was the same shit that you guys talk about, just, dumbed down to a high school level. So I never thought about it really at all. I just kind of believed it up until a certain point because people also believed it.
There was one guy in my class, Nathan Drake, who went on to be like an adventurer and an explorer.
Wait.
No,
Oh,
that actually was his name.
Okay. Oh,
So
that's incredibly badass. Holy shit.
yeah, so when the first Uncharted game came out, we were like, oh, it's like when you're reading a story in math and or whatever, and somebody who's in the class, their name is in there. You're like, oh, it's you. So yeah, he was like, he just like didn't go to church, and his family didn't go to church, and I remember we were always just like, what's his deal? But I guess he was just smarter than the rest of us, perhaps.
He was Nathan Drake, man. You don't question what man was up to in his free time. He was solving mysteries, exploring temple ruins.
Yeah.
That's one of those names though, where even before the Uncharted game came out, you probably heard that name and you were like, wow, you're probably gonna be a celebrity or something. It's like that just sounds like the name of someone important.
He's the only person I know growing up. Like, when you say you want to do something when you're a little kid, like, I want to be a steam shovel when I grow up, or something like that. He's the only person I can think of who is doing what they said they wanted to do when they grow up. He wanted to be in the Air Force, and that's what he did.
What did you say when you were a kid? How did you answer that question?
I wanted to be an oceanographer, and I specifically wanted to be the first person to videotape or photograph the giant squid. But then it happened when I was like in middle school, so my dream was shattered. Also, living in the most landlocked state in North America didn't really help either.
Brutal. I feel like we're getting a lot of insights here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
You,
all been
man?
downhill since then.
I don't know. My answer changed a lot. I think probably the most. So I always said I wanted to be like a scientist of some sort. So I don't know. I said a lot that I wanted to be like a neuroscientist of some type.
That's
That
awesome.
Yeah, as I got older, I realized it's like, wow, that's a lot of work. I could just go work at a warehouse and breathe in chemicals and still get paid enough.
Yeah,
So basically, that's why I did that.
I actually worked in a neuroscience lab for like 2.5 years in my undergrad. That was pretty cool. But I mean, there are some neuroscience experiments that I could see myself wanting to do. But like mostly, I like putting EEGs on people, running them through sort of cognitive tasks, and doing the data analysis on their performance of how their brains lit up. So I've got experience doing that. It is a lot of work, but I mean, it's super interesting. I mean, consciousness, the human brain, how that all fits together. I mean, fascinating stuff.
Magnets, how do they work?
That's
Yeah,
a good question.
nobody knows. Truly. And then for myself, I feel like I never had just like one. I feel like my top three as a kid were like I wanted to be Indiana Jones, a pirate, or an international man of mystery.
How did that work?
Yeah,
I don't know how that works.
I don't know. I think it's because I'm on my Mac. Because like if you FaceTime and go like this,
Oh,
fireworks.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you give a
I'm not cool enough. I don't get anything. What the hell is this?
if you do one, it does that. Because I was FaceTiming my wife the other day and she did that and it popped up. I was like, wait, I thought that was an OBS thing. But I think it's maybe because I'm doing OBS on a Mac. So and then if you go like this, it does balloons, I think.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
And now
So,
it
yeah,
won't
so-
work. I don't know. I'll have to look them up. Does this? No, that would be funny if it did like a giant one. Yeah, I don't know. Like when I was a kid, I don't know if I really. The idea of being like an archaeologist to me was one of the coolest things. It still is one of the coolest ideas to me. I reached out to Milo, Mini Minute Man, to see if he wants to
Nice.
do like an interview. So we'll see. I don't know how busy that guy is, but
I don't know either. I really like his videos though. They're super good.
yeah, he's got
Yeah.
the Midas touch. Every video he puts out gets 1 million views. It's crazy since day one. But he had a huge following on TikTok before he started doing YouTube. So he had a really good transfer rate. My TikTok transfer rate to YouTube has been, I don't really promote it, I guess, but whatever.
We got this
But yeah.
little dog here now. She's coming to be part of this.
Stream Dog,
This will-
nice.
Yep.
This will help the TikTok transfer rate.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't remember, apart from the oceanography thing, I think I just kind of like didn't think about it. When I was a senior, you had to go job shadow. It was like a requirement for some reason, it was a requirement for English class, whatever. Or you know what? Maybe it wasn't an English class. Maybe it was, I know it was with the English teacher, but maybe it was like senior advisory. I don't remember, I guess. But anyways, you had to go job shadow. And I went and shadowed a physical therapist because I thought like, oh, that sounds like a way to make like a pretty good chunk of money. It had nothing to do with what my personal interests are, I guess. And then like, yeah, when I went into college, that's what I was thinking too. And I just wasn't trying. I was getting horrible grades in classes. I was having to drop classes because I didn't have a vision for my future in mind. And then I was like, oh, fuck, I got to pick a career. And then I decided to go into teaching, and then my grades dramatically improved. So go figure.
I kind of did a similar path of picking my major based on what class came the easiest to me to get an A in, to where, I had a lot of different interests in science, and I really wanted to pursue theoretical physics, and those classes were hard, and I had to apply myself and work and like actually climb those steep learning curves. And then I was taking like biochemistry classes, and I was like doing really well in those classes, barely studying at all, and just like it just came naturally and made sense and clicked. And so I was like, well, okay, like maybe I should just listen to what's going on here. So I picked biochemistry over physics. But like kind of going back on it, I kind of wish that I had taken that physics class. So everybody in a similar situation, yeah, I don't know, maybe think about it a little bit harder, because like if I could go back and do it again, I might take the physics courses, and I still might one day go back to school to get that physics degree. Because I mean, at first, this is the last thing I'll say on it. At first, I was intimidated by physics when I was like in high school because of the amount of math and the equations, and I just didn't have that much fun memorizing those. But now in my adult life, I've conceptualized of physics equations and math in a way healthier way that is I gamified it and made it more fun, where I'm like, I think basically about physics equations and learning them like you're learning magic spells. Like you like are
Nice.
learning things about reality. Like it's like a simple like recipe or equation that you memorize in this ancient symbolic language, like literally ancient Greek basically. And you can then know deep truths about reality to the point where you can predict the way that things are going to happen, or like the outcomes of events before they happen. It's like it's literal magic. It's wizard shit.
Yeah, I taught physics 2 years ago, and it kind of like I don't have the brain for physics. I've always felt that way. I try to find like shortcuts in how to do things. Like chemistry, I'm actually pretty proficient in chemistry, but when you have to do like conversions for like reactions and like measuring things or whatever, they want you to do what are called conversion factors, where just you basically do like a series of 5 fractions, and you know, this goes here up there, and then the next thing, like, well, because you have this in the denominator, the numerator has to be this over here. My brain does not work that way. So I find much more intuitive ways of solving them, but it always works for me. So figuring out the puzzle of how to do that with physics was always cool for me. And then, yeah, it does feel kind of like the way you were describing it. I have some books on physics to like teach myself it, but I don't know. Because I haven't needed to do it, I haven't sat down to actually do it, I guess.
You know, I feel like the last like 2.5, maybe 3 years that I've spent debating flat earthers, that's kind of been like almost like a prerequisites course. You know, it's nothing super intimidating, right? It's real base level stuff you should have learned in high school. Luckily, flat earthers didn't, so it's a nice refresher for me. But you know, I feel like I could go to school for physics and do okay. I don't know. I've never really had an issue with math or science, except for my 11th grade year, because my teacher, he was just the football coach, and I think they just forced him to teach math, and he was so bad at it. He would come in, and he was the type of teacher to tell you like, hey, okay, open the textbook to page 37, do the questions there. Or he would have notes up on the board. He's like, copy this in your book and then go in your textbook and do the packet. He did not give a shit about anything to do with that class.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I did bad that year. But all my other years I did fine. Like algebra, you know, algebra 1, geometry 1, all that shit was super easy. It wasn't difficult at all.
I heard
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, on the topic of debates being like in very interdisciplinary introductory courses in like a broad span of knowledge. That's one of the reasons why I love debates, because you can know a lot about a topic, and people can still bring things up in debates that you maybe didn't ever think about, or you didn't think about it from that angle, and it makes you realize if you have blind spots in your own understanding, or if maybe there was a different way to think about something. And like having to, like they say, like a really good way to learn something is to teach it, but also a really good way to learn something is to debate it, because that like forces you to have a very strong, like well evidenced position that you can defend. And it's caused me to learn these subjects that I thought I knew before, like so much more deeper, having to debate them. And yeah, like I said, like people bring things up all the time in debates that I never would have gone down that rabbit hole of research like after the debate if they hadn't brought that up. By myself, I never would have learned so many things that I've learned just because I've done all these debates.
It's the exact same thing for me. I sat there for 2 hours and read like a user's manual for a fucking sextant. Just because a flat earther irritated me enough to make me want to do it.
I was stretching.
It's like, why would I waste my time doing that? But I did, and now I use it because, yeah, it's actually useful information, especially when flat earthers try to talk about celestial navigation, and they don't know what a sextant is. They keep calling it a sextant.
Do you have a sextant?
I don't have one, but I looked up all the shit I need online. So on paper, I know how to use it. In practice, I've never tried. I feel like it would take me a minute and I could figure it out just based on what I know, but I've never actually attempted.
We got to get this man a sextant, ladies and gentlemen.
You can make one. Just like put some cardboard together, draw the angles really precisely, maybe like a paper towel, telescope or spotting scope for it, or just put a deer hunting scope on it.
Yeah, we'll make our own version of a redneck sextant.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you using this for? To get across the swamp, Billy.
To get across the swamp. That's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You guys,
basically, I'm just gonna repeat what Tyler said, but yeah, doing the whole the debate things on TikTok. I've been saying this for a long time because people ask like, what's the point of it? Because the people you talk to are going to be lost causes no matter what. And I say that's true, but people learn, and they get some pretty good lulls out of me as well. But I have learned a shitload of stuff. I've just forced myself to like dig into the research, and I didn't have to write the book, but I wrote the book and I learned a lot more from doing that too. But it just helps me think more clearly. I can see when people are just, how do I say this? It's almost like I can psychoanalyze a lot of the people I'm debating because I know exactly what they're doing and why they're doing it because I've seen it so many times. Like, oh, well, you're doing motivated reasoning because you're committed to believing in a thing, and that's the only reason you would say something as stupid as I think the oil would be found under the ground and shit like that. But
Oh, who are you talking to who would say such a stupid thing like that? I couldn't pick it up.
yes, you can. I have the best Kent Hovind impersonation that I know of.
Oh, dude, I still don't understand what even happened in that second debate. he, I don't want to go too deep into it because we talked about it a lot already. But my God, that guy, he went into an actual like a loop error. He couldn't help but repeat himself over and over and over and over and over. It was honestly the most frustrating thing I've heard. And you having to go out of like debate mode to be like, no, Kent, seriously, you gotta stop. Like, it's not your turn.
Yeah.
Oh my, that was terrible.
It was pretty bad. All right, so the speaking of that, would either of you guys clone a pet?
Yeah, well, as somebody who, like, I just lost my dog, like, last month, and right now, maybe it's just a little bit of grief speaking, but yeah, I would clone my old dog, Harley. I mean, he's an old man, but he's like the best dog ever, and I feel like a lot of those traits might pass on to the clone, maybe. It would be its own individual, not the same Harley, but yeah, I mean, I miss my Harley boy, so yeah, I would totally clone him.
I I don't know. Yeah, I guess in that scenario, yeah, I would probably have to say the same. I think it would be neat, but I have a feeling I know where this is going, so I'm gonna let you go.
Oh, I don't have too much to say about it because I got interviewed for a documentary about cloning that'll who knows when it'll come out. It might be a couple of years. But I don't know, it's really interesting. I don't really have a problem necessarily with the idea of cloning, but it would definitely be like case by case. Like if you had a dog or whatever that had like really severe health issues later in life, I'd be like, or like had them for a long time, I'd be like, I don't know if cloning that dog is the best idea because we're gonna have to go through that again. Obviously, any pet you have, you're gonna outlive it probably, unless you get a tortoise or something like that, or a Greenland shark.
Bonsai tree.
Yeah, or a bonsai tree. That's not a pet, or a pet rock. Like,
Yeah, pet rock. I mean, yeah, good luck outliving that one.
no pet owner should outlive their pet rock. But
That's why you have to put it down before you pet.
yeah. Turn him into grout. But
Oh, whoa.
but,
Turn him into Popeye.
yeah, basically. But like
Speaking of cloning, actually, I want to get you guys' take on what do you think about the cloning of extinct animals, like the woolly mammoth, or recently this week, the Tasmanian tiger made the news because there's this company in Silicon Valley, Colossal, that is like they've made it their main mission to. It's not really a clone. Like they say that they're bringing back extinct species, but they're not. That's not really what they're doing. Like when you actually look at the process that they're doing, they're like it made news this week because they had finally sequenced like over 99% of the Tasmanian tiger's genome. They found like a tooth, and from that tooth, they got over 99%. Like they're almost there, and they say that their plan is to take segments of the Tasmanian tiger genome and insert them into another like currently living species.
yeah.
And it's like And over time, that species will be morphed and genetically engineered to resemble a Tasmanian tiger with actual Tasmanian tiger genes. But it's like, it's not bringing back an extinct species. It's literally morphing a current species to resemble an extinct species. It's super weird. And the species, real quick, the species that they're morphing is like a marsupial mouse. Like it's like
Yeah.
a little mouse looking thing. And they're going to morph that into a Tasmanian tiger.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's a little weird to me. There's also what they're doing in the Galapagos is one of the species of tortoise. I don't remember if it's extinct now or if there's like only one member, so like, they don't really have a hope. I think there's one member of it left. But what they're doing is they're taking all the like closely related species. It's a way better example than the thylacine one because that thing is like nowhere close to a thylacine. But they're going to sequence the genomes of the tortoises and find the ones that have the most number of genes specifically from this other tortoise, that's going extinct. And they're going to selectively breed them they're basically going to accumulate those actual original genes from that tortoise that's about to go extinct. So it's kind of like convergent evolution by artificial selection.
Do you remember the Tiger King, that Netflix documentary that went crazy during
I
the
never
pandemic?
watched it, but yeah.
Okay, well, a lot of people did. I don't know, Glowman, if you watched the Tiger King.
I did
But
not.
that's what the Tiger King was trying to do. Like,
Oh, really?
he didn't say that during the documentary, but like in 2015, I met the Tiger King, like on accident, basically. Like, it was a wild story, but I was driving on the highway, icy day, my car spun out, and I was like, literally, like, life flashed before my eyes. I was too stressed to get back on the highway. So I was like, well, what exit am I on right now? And I just exited and was looking around for something to do to kill time, to calm down. And I see the Tiger King's Tiger Zoo. I was in rural
Wow.
Oklahoma. And I just went there like not knowing anything about him. This is 2015, like 5 years before the documentary came out. And I didn't know that, like, whatever. He gives me like a tour of this place. And I didn't really understand at the time, but he was definitely hitting on me in retrospect. And he was telling me that his goal, like in between the gift shop where he's selling like tiger print thongs and condoms and stuff, in the gift shop with kids there, and he's got his own country music recording studio in like the exhibit with the alligators. It's a crazy place. But he's telling me that his goal is to breed back saber-toothed tigers with the
Oh,
right
weird.
combination of big cats. Like, he thinks that he could do what they're doing with the tortoises right here, but with the right combination of selective breeding to select for saber-toothed tiger genes, he thinks that he can bring back a saber-toothed tiger. And he told me that that was his ultimate plan.
That is
I feel like
that
you
is
should
a
use
very
lions to do that. They look more. I guess I don't
He
really
had
know,
tigers.
but
I mean, I played with baby liger cubs while I was there. Like, he's got the lion, the tiger. He's got all kinds of big cats that he was hybridizing to try to bring back the saber-tooth.
that's crazy. Yeah, there's.
here's something that I actually wanted to. I thought this is why you were bringing up the cloning, Peterson. If you look in the side chat, this is a pretty recent story about a guy who cloned a giant sheep
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
he
he
went
tried to
jail.
breed it with another one so he could have like his own like hunting trophy, I guess, type deal.
Yeah, that was in Montana, wasn't it?
I think so. I actually thought this is why you were bringing it up. I thought you were gonna have like some crazy transition into this, but then again, we don't know what we're doing here.
Well, you just did the transition for him.
I guess, yeah. There we go. Transitioned. Boom.
So actually, I had not heard of this story. So was this just an amateur guy that cloned a sheep, or like
It's an 81-year-old man. I sent it. Do you know how to get to the side chat? I sent it
It's
there.
in the Discord.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not
Well-
sure. I guess is cloning. Well, cloning's not illegal in the United States, so I'm not sure like specifically what law he broke. But that sounds like a decent idea for ethical conservation. Like we have to have some amount of hunting because population numbers need to be controlled a little bit. But if you can just breed them or whatever, then for if it's like a species that's rare or like you can't get tags for it or whatever, then that actually sounds like kind of a cool idea.
It sounds cool. I don't know exactly what the crime is too. From what I'm reading though, it looks like what is it? It says that it was an illegal breeding operation that was widespread and involved other states and endangered the health of other wildlife. So I'm guessing he was just doing it without taking into consideration how it affects other stuff in, I guess, the surroundings. I don't really know though,
I would
if I'm
assume that
being
there's
honest.
some kind of regulation that he violated. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have like a backyard cloning lab without breaking a few eggs.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't send an 81-year-old man to prison for this unless it's a big deal, I guess. Maybe this is deeper than I thought. It's part of a real big cloning ring or
Maybe, maybe,
something.
maybe Big Sheep is trying to suppress his perfect sheep that he's engineered that would like topple their monopoly on our sheep industry.
Something
Damn
like
big
that.
sheep. Can't believe they're always trying to take down the little guys.
The little guy and his genetically engineered sheep.
Um,
Yeah. The little guy is the fucking mad scientist in this scenario.
how
He's like literally like the Wyoming backcountry mad scientist.
I don't know. How many years of prison do you give an 81-year-old man? I mean, if he was told like 10 times to knock it off, then I guess it's like, well, sorry, but but it seems a little come on.
Yeah, I mean, like you should be able to just like playfully clone a sheep, like, and get off with a warning, you know?
Yeah, I mean, look, if he was 15, then throwing him in jail until he's 81, I'm all for. But since he's already 81, I'm not really with him on that.
Yeah. Did you
I
guys see?
can't even see how long he did get sent there.
Did you guys see also in the news um, this week that I felt like one is probably the most sci-fi news headline I've seen maybe all year was that they said a new technological milestone reached, a, a communication between two people in their dreams. Did you see this at all?
No.
I did. I saw a video about it.
Yeah, so it's this Silicon Valley company again, like just like the cloning company. It's always some company, some startup in Silicon Valley doing this kind of weird science here. But yeah, they've got two people, both of them having lucid dreams, and then they send a communicate a message from one to the other using their little technology at this startup, which is like I felt like a really really cool concept. And then I kind of figured out how it worked, and then it wasn't quite as cool because again, I feel like maybe this is a theme here that's emerging with these Silicon Valley startups, right? When you hear the cloning and we're going to bring back extinct species, and then you realize actually they're just going to be genetically morphing a mouse into a Tasmanian tiger instead of bringing back a real Tasmanian tiger. It's like the more you look at the technology, like when you think about communicating between dreams, right? You're thinking that there's got to be something like reading the dream in your brain to try to interpret the message, and then that's like somehow creating that message inside of the other person's dream, and it kind of is doing that, but it's also like cheating. Like it is not doing that. There's no brain sensors. There's no monitoring of anybody's brain. There's no. It's like old school manually doing this. But it was like it's cheating a little bit, but it's really clever the way that they did it. So like when you're dreaming, how your body is like paralyzed, right? Like you cannot move your muscles, you know?
Yeah.
So they found that there are some muscles that are spared from this paralyzation during REM sleep, like the muscle here for your jaw, because you have to be able to breathe and sleep and swallow, and there's a few things that your body has to be able to do when you're dreaming. So you're not paralyzed at this muscle here. So all they did was have like a little electromyogram, like measuring device here that just measures the electrical stimulation of your muscles. So they only needed one measurement device right here, and then when the person is in a lucid dream, so you have to be lucid to do this. Then inside of the lucid dream, all they do is they open their jaw 3 times, and that's the signal then like that signal is then picked up by the machine that is just reading their muscle in real life, and then it just sends it to the other person, and like they can kind of like communicate by opening their jaw basically in like Morse code. And it's like
Huh.
it's not nothing to do with the brain or measuring the brain or anything.
Yeah, because I was like, so are they reading each other's minds, or they're like
Yeah,
images, or something like that? No, but you know,
yeah.
it's you got to start. You got to start somewhere. You don't just get mind blowing tech that has no precedent or anything like that. I went.
You also have sorry, go ahead.
All I said was it still makes for a cool headline.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You guys know, what are they called? The Optimus robot things that Elon was showing off.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently they're for sale now. Um, and what was the promise? He was saying that it can help with like household chores and stuff around the house. And my girlfriend, she was like, I don't know, I just think of iRobot, like they're gonna turn on us.
That's such a good movie.
I haven't watched that in a very, very long time.
It's
Why do you think that people want a humanoid slave robot? Like, it's a
because
little
we're
sus to
lazy.
me. There's a
Yeah,
little bit of red
there's
flag. Like,
there's a
why
few
does it have
people
to?
that probably shouldn't have one.
I'm just saying, like, why does it have to look like a human? Like, is this really the peak, most efficient form to do household chores? Is a human, or can you not make a design that is anatomically better for doing chores than the human body? That like, it feels weird to me that people want to buy a robot slave. Like,
You know,
don't make it look like a human.
probably the best thing you could have would be like some weird like octopus arms that that are just fixed to a wall. Like I'm imagining my laundry room. Like you would get your laundry octopus and you would just mount it to the wall and it could just go and just like take stuff in and out of the dryer and like turn it on. Because like to like walk around and do stuff, that's gonna be so freaking complicated. So what you'd probably want is a robot that's like it's just basically like a really narrow forklift, so it's on skids, so it can't like fall over or anything, and it can like
Yeah.
pick stuff up, and it's like, yeah, but then how's it going to like do things? So I don't know. I feel like maybe in the future everybody will just have a set of robot arms like on the kitchen wall, and it'll be right there, and it can like grab things and like put things in places and like turn knobs, and you'll have a laundry one and you'll have a closet one. So you literally just take your clothes and just chuck them onto the floor in the closet, and the octopus arms just go put it on little hangers and like hang it up or whatever.
I feel like it's got to be mobile, no matter what. Like, so basically, I'm picturing like a Roomba with octopus arms.
Oh,
Th-
okay.
th- there was someone in your comments, they had the same idea that I did. Did you guys ever play Fallout?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Handy.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a strange name now that we're
Whoa,
thinking back
pause.
on it in 2024. But yeah, like the little robot guy, he's just got like a couple different arms. Yeah, dude, he can help out all over the house. And not to mention, if we all get blown up, he'll survive. He's already shown that he can do that. I think that's, quality over quantity, in my opinion, there. I think that's a good direction to go.
Well, if it was in Fallout, it was probably a good idea.
Yeah, everything in Fallout was the best idea that I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got really
Which
just
Volt?
I got really distracted a little while ago when you were talking about the dream thing, because I opened up Google. You know how Google's banner is like dedicated to whatever, someone. It had a little dinosaur on there. I was like, what is this? And it's Staricosaurus, and it's just some like little theropod looking. Is it actually a theropod? It's really early. It's a Herrerasaurid.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So it's like
Arms are so long.
it's like 233 million years old. So that's like one of the very first dinosaurs. But I'm like,
Yeah.
why does that dinosaur get a Google? I mean, I guess there's plenty of dinosaurs, and Google does this every day. But I don't. They dedicated their search thing to this one really particular dinosaur, and I'm not really sure why.
That's interesting. I want, but Herrerasaurs, you're right. They're like absolutely one of the earliest known examples of a dinosaur, like unequivocal dinosaurs. And then yeah, there have been dinosaur news this week. Like a new species of diplodocid was discovered, literally just like a couple miles away from where I spent this summer looking for new dinosaur fossils. I was
That's
like,
cool.
it was bittersweet seeing that headline. Like I was in Wyoming this summer, literally looking for dinosaur fossils, and then a new species of sauropod, which we were looking for an unidentified sauropod species. That's what we went out there to look for. And then like a couple miles away, this new diplodocid species was announced like this week.
Yeah. It should have been you. Coach should have put
Yeah,
you
it should've
in
been
the
Grayson
fourth
Soros.
quarter. You'd have won state if Coach would have just put you in fourth quarter. We all know it. We all
Grayson
know
Soros, man. I'm just saying it could have happened.
it. Have you ever been to the Museum of Nature and Science in Denver?
I have
yeah.
been.
They have the Diplodocus with the two Allosaurus in there. That's such a cool. They have a Diplodocus. They have two Stegosaurids, an adult and a baby, and then an Allosaurus in there too. But that Diplodocus in that room is so cool because it wraps around like the entire thing.
Yeah. And if you've been recently, like I literally stopped by on my way back from Wyoming this summer because they are like right now they're working on like a teenage T-Rex, and like you can literally see them like preparing the fossil. Like
Yeah.
it's like public at the museum, and there's like an entire documentary. I think it's playing at all the museums around the nation right now about that find called just like T-Rex. And it's one of the best, like if you like Walking with Dinosaurs, it's one of the best versions of those types of movies I've seen. Like this new T-Rex 2024, like it just follows the life of a T-Rex in Cretaceous era North Dakota, and it's so good. Like
What was that?
honestly.
It was Al, right? They did like
Yeah.
that was cool because it was like you were getting to know Al or whatever. Did you
Yes.
guys have you guys watched Prehistoric Planet?
Yes, definitely.
So like we were talking about like groundbreaking technology or whatever like a little while ago. That when that series started a couple years ago, I could not believe how good they were. And I still when I look at it, like you look at the beak of like one of the pterosaurs they have, and it's not like a smooth beak. It looks like broken fingernails and like all the textures and things. That is one of the biggest leaps in something I've seen in such a long time. It's like when Avatar came out, or for video games, Crysis was like the one where it's like, how did they make a game look that good? All other games don't look anywhere close to this. It was a monumental leap forward. But yeah,
GoldenEye.
Planet
I
is.
feel like GoldenEye was like that too.
Do you follow me on Instagram?
I do not, but I should.
I literally posted a picture of GoldenEye the other day.
Nice.
Like literally 2 days
Oh
ago.
my god.
I'm sorry, how did they do that? It's just incredible graphics.
That's so good.
I saw some guy. This is actually a great Halloween idea. If you just put pantyhose over your face, it'll smush you, and you look just like. And he was like, because they have like really weird head movements. So he was doing that, and he put pantyhose on his hands too, because like they don't have fingers. I was like, that actually looks really, really accurate because it mats your hair down, it flattens you, it makes your proportions all weird. And so he just like had that on and was just moving around like that. I was like, that looks really, really, really good. Actually.
For my Halloween costume this year, do you guys fuck with Studio Ghibli at all?
I've heard of it because of that TikTok trend, but I actually don't know anything that they put out.
Way, Princess Mononoke, none of them. Dang. Okay. Well, I've got the mask from Princess Mononoke, but like I'm gonna be Prince Mononoke. I'm doing a gender bent version for Halloween. So like, I guess that means nothing to you guys, but maybe somebody in the audience also has good taste in movies and has seen Studio Ghibli.
I don't know what I'm doing for Halloween yet. I kind of want to. I went to Spirit Halloween to look at what they had, and my wife really loves Ghostbusters, and they have some cool Ghostbusters.
They do.
Costumes.
My girlfriend took pictures of it the other day.
The freaking backpacks are so expensive though, but they also had some cool Top Gun outfits. So where I don't know, we'll tandem something, but I'm thinking either Ghostbusters or.
I think that's actually a good couples costume idea, or to be Maverick and Iceman.
You see, I'm going a different direction. All right, I already got the wig, so I'm going as Caleb, and I'm gonna have my girlfriend dress up like Derek, and we're gonna be the worst podcast on the internet together.
Dare to know. Wakey, wakey. Oh, God, I want to punch him so bad.
Where is the moon? The moon was in the sky just an hour ago. Now it's gone. That's not possible on a flat Earth or a globe.
Yeah, Grace, you probably don't know what we're talking about, but there's this TikTok flat earther who goes by Dare to Know, and he lost the moon one day. He was driving around. He saw it. He filmed it, and then he went back outside and he couldn't find it. And he was driving around and like, this proves. I don't know what he thought it proved, but it proved that the Earth isn't a globe apparently. And he also, his other biggest blunder was the sun set over the Atlantic Ocean one time.
Oh my God.
And we were like, you mean like it does in Europe and Africa every single day? He's like, no, this was in America. Like, look.
And just
Derek.
he's the only one who noticed. I mean, nobody
Yes.
else.
I was like,
No,
Derek,
no. That's not even what it was. He was convinced that it was setting in the east, and I had to pull up the place where this was happening.
The Atlantic is east.
So, here's the deal. The sun did set over the Atlantic. We'll get to it in a little bit. But what you said is exactly the point. Every single person on the planet would have noticed that, and it would be the only thing anybody would ever talk about. It's like, this is what I say about the curses of the Exodus and the moon splitting in half. Is like, this obviously didn't happen because every single person would do nothing but talk about this. And but that's not what we see. But anyways, so what happened was, I don't know if you know about like the East Coast, but there are those barrier islands off the Carolinas, and they go really far out into the ocean in some cases. So somebody had taken a picture of the sun setting over the Atlantic from one of those barrier islands looking west. And so that's what it really was. But it's just like the idea that, and this is something I run across. I brought it up with Kent when I debated him. I try to bring this point up with people, and I should do it more often. But when I say to them, what is it that makes you think you thought of something that scientists didn't think of a really long time ago? And like, just the hubris with that, it drives me crazy. But it's not exactly the same thing, but it's pretty nearly the same thing.
In my last debate with Kent, I brought this point up where I was like he was making the point that, the Bible says that the universe is expanding. And I'm like, so Kent, how come there were generations of theologian and Christian scientists reading the Bible, looking at the data, and until like Hubble, nobody ever thought that the Bible said that the universe should be expanding. People didn't know that the universe was expanding, and nobody was looking at the Bible and saying, hey, wait a minute, look, like the universe looks like it's not expanding, but the Bible says it should be. I was like, Kent, how come that never happened one time in human history? And he says, well, that's because I wasn't alive then. Like, I'm like, dude, like, he literally thinks, like, if he was alive before Einstein, like, he would have been Einstein. If he was alive, like, before Newton, he would have been Newton. Like, that's, like, the level of, like, self-obsession and narcissism going on here.
Some of these people, flat earthers, hollow earthers, young earth creationists, you go to the extreme on any of these conspiracy theories, they have almost a god complex where they don't think they can be wrong. There have been a few people I've talked to on TikTok where they outright admit that they have never been wrong. They say that and genuinely believe it, and they get pissed off if you question them on it. And it's like, I want to think these people are trolling. I really do. But if you're trolling, you don't get that emotionally invested where you're actually shaking and turning red.
Well, unless you think you're losing money, maybe.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe the grifters have an excuse that they're actually just terrified that they're losing their followers.
Have you ever, actually, I'll bring that up in a second. Don't let me forget. It was a thing in a Destiny debate, but because we were talking, Grayson, what you said, I wrote about like this exact same thing in my book where I cover the claim that, the Big Bang was discovered by a Catholic priest, right? So the way I finish it off is the scientific method is what discovered the Big Bang. It's the only method that could have discovered it. You give a trillion Catholic priests a trillion years to read the Bible, and they would never have come up with anything about the cosmological structure of the universe. You have to look up at the natural world to discover things, not down at old books.
Nice. That was really well put. Yeah.
Boom.
My
Actually, if you read your Bible, it tells you that that's wrong.
Well, actually, if you read the Quran, it says, "And we are greatly expanding it." So there you go. Big Bang
there's a really
confirmed.
good like side story with like Georges Lemaitre, like the Catholic that was instrumental in the Big Bang Theory. There's like an apocryphal story of like him talking to the Pope, and the Pope is like, "This is amazing. Like you've used science to demonstrate the truth of the Bible because the Bible says that the universe like was created and had a beginning, and you've shown this with your Big Bang Theory." And like George Lemaitre is supposed to have stopped him and say like, whoa, like don't get it twisted like that. Like he said, science is provisional. Like tomorrow we could find some new data that totally invalidates my Big Bang Theory. And
then Christianity would therefore be false.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
So
problem
like,
with doing
if you
that.
tie that to Christianity, then like Christianity is not supposed to be provisional. So like don't tie it to provisional scientific knowledge to try to support it, because then if we invalidate it, then it invalidates Christianity. So Georges Lemaitre, the actual Catholic priest that like was the one in question here, very clearly said like, do not try to support one with the other. Separate science and religion. Like that was a big point of his. So like if they actually knew anything about the guy, they would never be trying to make that argument.
That's actually really funny though, because I cannot tell you the amount of times that flat earthers have come to me and they're telling me like, "Oh, well, did you know that it was actually a priest who came up with the Big Bang, not one of your scientists?" And it's like, okay, well, that's wrong, but whatever. And then in the very next sentence, they're like, "Did you know that JWST debunked the Big Bang?" It's like, dude, your beliefs aren't even consistent with each other. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and they hate the Catholic Church.
Well, when it's convenient, they hate it. You gotta remember that. If it's convenient for them to enjoy what the Catholic Church did, then they're on board. They're all with it.
Yeah, they don't believe in anything except whatever's convenient for the argument they're currently making.
I've also debated Catholic flat earthers and Catholic geocentrists before, so there's all types out there. Like where, like I debated.
I saw that rage quit video on your channel the other day. Is that the Catholic geocentrist guy? Because Donnie said he wants me to debate that guy.
Awesome. Yeah, you should. Robert Sunjanus, just whatever you do, be careful not to use any adjectives to describe his belief, because I made the mistake of saying that the idea that the universe revolves around the Earth is quote silly, and because I said that, he rage quit and ran away and refused to debate me because I said that it was silly.
You poisoned the well.
You have to be super, super polite and make sure that his ego feels nice and coddled, and don't say anything to make him feel like his position is silly or stupid, even though it is to think that the universe revolves around the fucking Earth.
That's going to be... Well, I mean, I don't think I ever called Kent stupid. A couple times I said this is flat Earth logic. I did what, though?
I said, you are a little inflammatory. I've seen you debate enough. It's not that... The thing is, you don't say things that are necessarily rude. You say things where it's like, okay, even a fucking third grader should know this. How are you struggling? Like, you don't say that outright, but that's exactly what's implied.
I did tell a flat earther that he might be a houseplant and that he doesn't meet the minimum the minimum cognitive threshold to justify deserving to exist. That might be the meanest thing I've ever said.
Wow. Yeah, okay, so you gotta make sure that Robert Sejanus feels like a nice, big, important man when you're debating him. You can't make him feel silly or childish, or he'll just run. And then, this guy is one of the most prominent geocentrists in the world. He actually got a multi-million-dollar movie funded. Or if the movie didn't cost more than $1 million, the revenue grossed more than $1 million. It was one or the other. But they actually got this movie in theaters in the US to like they got actual scientists in this movie that they quote mine to make it sound like they're supporting that the universe revolves around the Earth, and like they literally were playing this in theaters, like, and this guy was a leading source behind, like, he's written books like, hey, Galileo was wrong and the Catholic Church was right all along to persecute his ass, like that kind of thing. It's so like, I mean, he's
That's weird.
trying to bring it back to like the 1600s. It's not even to the back to the 1950s or the 1800s. He's trying to go back before Galileo.
He's trying to go back before the United States existed.
Yeah.
What the? He's like, you know what? Everything we've learned since then, let's just get rid of it. All that's useless information. We haven't done nothing useful with that. The camera I'm talking to you on, useless. Get rid of it. Why do we even have it?
That God like revealed to him, or like he feels like his life purpose is to redeem the Catholic Church for what happened to them with the Galileo affair. Like he wants to prove that Galileo was wrong and that the Catholic Church was right, and he wants to redeem them. That's what he thinks his life purpose is.
Well,
good luck to him, I guess.
If you talk to an actual historian about that thing, they would let him know how stupid he's being.
Oh, like it's crazy, like the nuances for the whole Galileo thing, because like when Galileo first published his results, he was celebrated by the Catholic Church. Like they hosted him a great banquet, the Jesuits and the Pope was like, "These are great scientific discoveries you're making." Yeah. And like they were totally supportive of Galileo's scientific breakthroughs. And then it was like later on when he started arguing that actually this means that the Ptolemaic model of the church is wrong, not just like, oh, I made these scientific breakthroughs and interpret them however you want. But then he started telling them that they're wrong, actually, and Copernicus is right. And he was like trying to make it into a philosophical, theological thing with the Catholic Church. And he was trying to make the point to them. And he published this. And this is what started getting the Catholic Church on his case, was that he said, I think that what we should be doing is allowing science to lead our interpretation of the Bible and not have the Bible lead our interpretation of reality. We should reinterpret the Bible to match what we learn about the world through science. And they were like, no. And they were like, if you don't stop saying that, like if you don't stop supporting the Copernican model, then like you're gonna have to face the consequences. So he tried to find a loophole through that. Like he was told, do not publish anything supporting the Copernican model. And he said, well, what if I publish a book that's a debate between two people and one of them supports the Copernican model, but it's not me. It's the guy in the book. And I just have it as a debate, and I don't ever say who wins the debate. And so he published that book, and he thought that was like a loophole where he could talk about it without talking about it. And the Catholic Church was like, yeah, the guy's like, what the fuck? No. And like, so then they put it out to press. And that's like the brief summary of like that entire affair. So it's not like they were just.
There was a very big controversy with me in this event about a month ago. So I did an interview with a guy who knows the entire history of it on my channel. It's just called Galileo with Tim O'Neill or whatever. Definitely give it a listen, because there's a lot of other nuances and things that people don't understand about it, including like this rivalry with the Protestant and the Catholic Church, because there are a lot of Catholics that were like, if we could convert Protestants by being the group that leads the way in like showing that the Copernican model is true, but they didn't have any models that were successful enough to their standards, so it wasn't working. And there was a lot of politics involved in it too. But anyways, I don't want to get into that at the moment.
You said you had a story. You owe us a story.
Oh, Destiny?
Yeah, you owe us a story right now.
Yeah, why did I bring that up? We were talking about like con artists or something.
Grifters and
grifters, like when they get caught or whatever. Yep. Have you guys seen when Destiny was talking to that technologist about NFTs?
No.
Oh, it's so fucking oh my god, it's so funny. I'd play it, but I don't have a scene set up. It would completely fuck up all of our camera angles or whatever. But there's this dude, and he's a complete con artist. He calls himself a technologist, and like he brings up NFTs, and Destiny goes, "Wait, what's an NFT?" and he will not answer it. He absolutely will not answer. He keeps going, no, wait, tell me what an NFT is. And he keeps saying like, you're acting like I didn't have an entire workshop where I brought people in and taught them how to make NFTs. Great. So tell us what an NFT is. And he would not answer the question.
Wow.
And then the dude kicked Destiny off the show, but he was taking video audience questions. So he would like bring somebody up, like, I don't know if he was doing StreamYard or whatever, but like you'd be able to see them like we are now. And all the people that came up were like, what's an NFT? And this one guy, he told this really convoluted story about it. It was so funny because like they were hiding the fact that they're gonna snipe him with the what's an NFT. And
Yeah,
this one
that's like
dude,
the punchline.
it's so funny. This one dude told this really long story about how, oh yeah, I used to know Destiny, and he like blah 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 blah. He like goes over this really long story, and then he starts saying like, and Destiny kept telling me enough tea, like stop drinking tea, enough tea. NFT. What's an NFT? And it's so fucking. You gotta watch it. It's like.
Brilliant.
It's
That's
one of the
brilliant.
best internet owns of all time, and the guy would not. And he's wearing like this really expensive looking suit, like that Alex Jones Jr. guy Destiny debated the other day on like
Oh yeah,
Trump.
yeah.
Like he looked like he's that suit has to be 5 times his net worth. You know, I'm like, what are you pretending to do up here? And Destiny's just wearing street clothes. So
I don't know. I still think the best internet own was I can't remember his name, but the guy who was debating Charlie Kirk. He's
the
and he pulled
dolphin
up.
fetus. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, so you think that this is a human life? I said, yes, absolutely. He's like, that's a dolphin fetus. Dude, that shit. I don't know. I've watched that probably 100 times, and every time it makes me laugh because I didn't expect it. I didn't know it was coming. I didn't watch it when it happened.
Nobody expects the dolphin fetus.
Yeah. So many times in my life, I wish I would have expected a dolphin fetus. That would have saved me a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
We have learned more things about you in this hour.
Yeah. Well, you see, I tend to have a lot of run-ins with dolphin fetuses. You know, sometimes I just like open my pantry to get some ramen noodles. Just flies out at me.
Just dolphin fetus. You know that episode of
Yeah.
South Park where Cartman like finds the entire like semi truck full of fetuses and he keeps calling people. Hey, I got some primo fetuses here trying to unload them. You're breaking my balls. I need a better price than that.
I actually did find a shark fetus and
Nice.
raised it. That was cool.
What?
Like, yeah. I found it. It was still alive. It was like on the beach. It was like in a little pod. It's a little
Yeah.
bamboo shark. And we had like a big salt water tank, and so we put and like clipped it to the side of the tank. And then after a couple weeks, it hatched, and we had like a little baby bamboo shark during like 2020.
I gotta look up what a bamboo shark looks like. Have you ever seen
It was so cute.
There's this type of shark, a really weird one. Oh yeah, that's cool. They're called Port Jackson sharks, I think, but their eggs are corkscrew shaped.
Huh.
They're really,
Yeah, I think I've seen a picture of those eggs before. They're funny.
I think the idea behind that is they think like they live in like tidal zones where it's like rocky, so that shape is like meant to like get itself wedged in between some rocks or something like that.
That makes sense.
That's the idea.
Dude,
It's
imagine pushing out an egg like that. That's gotta hurt.
yeah, maybe a little bit.
Well, I don't know. I mean, some species have corkscrew-shaped vaginas, so maybe it matches. Like some
Yeah,
duck.
maybe it's just perfect.
Yeah.
A lot of ducks have corkscrew shaped wieners. I don't know if you guys have seen that famous photo of that duck in mid-flight and its wiener is like 5 times longer than its body shooting out, but that's a classic one.
What the hell? I don't
Yeah.
think I have.
You've never
What are
seen
you
that?
looking up in your free time? No.
Duck
I don't
wieners.
think I have. You're like, yeah, if you look at my Google search history, it's all duck wieners.
No, here I'll bring it up. I ain't scared.
No,
right.
that's okay. We can just end the podcast. It's fine.
Yeah, you know, it is 1:13. I'm getting a little hungry.
Right there.
Oh no. Kind of scared.
I'm terrified.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, why did I do it? Why did I click it? I knew what it was out. What I was.
Yeah, here I gotta try to show the stream too. There you go, YouTube. There you go. Yeah. Well, it could be worse. It could
What the
also
hell
be a
is
lot
going on?
better, but it could also be worse.
What is going on in your comments here? Dolphin fetus is a great entree to roasted babies for atheists.
For atheists.
What the fuck?
That's just normal atheist comment section. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but
Yeah.
that's just what we're like.
Yeah, what if you just looked? What if you just looked at all the tabs Peterson had open, and they were all just different like types of ducks and their wieners? What if he was being genuine when he said that's all he looks up in his free time?
I didn't say that's all I look up. You just said, "What do you look up in your free time?" And I said that. No, my tabs are YouTube Studio is always open, Chat GPT is always open, Patreon, my Gmail, the RSS website where I publish my podcast, and then just random Google Docs. I always have like 3 or 4 Google Docs open because I'm always writing. So
What a nerd. Always writing stuff. Me personally, my tabs are Roblox, Agario, Town of Salem, and your stream. That's it.
I don't know what any of those things are. I mean, I kind of know what Roblox is, but I've never played it.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, none of that I just said is true. It's actually it's actually the UFC fights, me trying to find out the Discord audio issue, and my girlfriend looking at school to learn to cut hair.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so not nearly as interesting as what my first answer was.
Grayson, what are your tabs?
Oh, we're really doing this. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing this.
Okay.
He's like, let me close out of a couple. real quick.
You've learned a lot about Tyler today. Now it's our turn to learn something about you.
Okay. I've got
Kind of
two
sick,
emails.
sadistic shit do you have open?
I have 2 emails open. I've got a bunch of papers. Like a bunch of papers. I think I've got like I'm one of those people that has a problematic number of tabs open at any given time. So right now it looks like I've got like 20 tabs open.
My girlfriend's
don't
like
know.
that with her phone. When she opens
you guys
Safari
want-
on her phone, I'm like, what the? She has so many.
If you guys
Wait, did I
want,
say
I can
girlfriend?
share my screen.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, my wife. Holy shit. That's hilarious. Don't tell my wife I have a girlfriend.
Let me share my screen here. If I'll just lean into it here. Choose. Oh shit. Okay, I might have just been not technologically capable enough to make good on that promise to
That's
share my
fine.
screen.
You might not have permission for it. Oh, no, you do
Oh,
have
there it is.
permission.
Okay, can you see this?
Yeah, we
Or
can.
Discord?
Oh, I hear myself.
Oh, you can hear yourself. Okay, but you can see my tabs. I have this open.
No. Your application sharing Discord. You got to do screen share, and then
Oh,
or
I'm
you
only-
can. Yeah. So when I look at it, I just hear and see myself. A great view. In all honesty, like I'm not complaining, but.
Okay, well, I thought I was good enough to share my screen, but I could just, if you want me to look at the papers, but one's on prebiotic gas flow, one's on self-catalyzing amyloids, because I'm actually trying to do a project where I'm going to try to see if I can make my own self-replicating amyloids in my garage, my garage lab. So I've done a lot of the chemistry before, so I want to see if I can do it myself. One's on entanglement. One's on claims about religious involvement and health outcomes. One is on minimal decoherence from inflation. I have the Jeopardy archive so that I don't have to watch Jeopardy episodes. I can just go on the archive and look at the questions every day. It's just like I like Jeopardy. I have the Goonies that I was watching.
Oh,
The Goonies, 80s.
it's good.
I have a bunch of YouTube tabs with movies on, like this one on Cartesius from 1974. I have something called like Wikipedia pages of stuff that I wanted to go back on, like the Wuxian Revolution. I have reservations open. I can close that. I've got just stupid stuff open, honestly. I have like reservations for the Colorado trip that I went last weekend. I'm closing that. I have hunter gatherers and the origin of religion because I wanted to make a video about the evolution of religion.
Ooh.
Yeah, I've got this one on black holes. This paper on Oh no, this is Salman Rushdie's masterclass that I was thinking about getting because I like Salman Rushdie. Um, this was a paper about entanglement entropy. I have Amazon open, and then yeah, I've got Planet Peterson's channel on YouTube open, and that's
Nice.
about it. So those are all my tabs. I don't have anything like duck penises or anything cool like Planet Peterson, but mostly a bunch of nerdy
I
science
only
stuff.
had that because it got brought up by one of you. So then I
Yeah,
looked.
yeah, sure.
That was,
It,
it
I
wasn't
have
there before that, and it's not there
And-
anymore.
look. All right, you can keep
We all believe you.
tell us whatever you need to feel comfortable in your own skin. All right, but I sent one last thing in the Discord. This is an oldie, but a goldie, not a golden shower. So don't worry about that. But if
Nobody-
you go, okay, good. Yeah, if you look there though, that's about the Pepsi logo. That's the whole like 27-page document that they put out. And man, they have some weird shit in this. They're talking about like the gravitational pull of Pepsi. Here, let me. Forgot exactly where it is. Oh yeah, they're using the golden ratio and comparing the Pepsi logo with that. They're using Mona Lisa's like facial
Smile.
proportions for the Pepsi logo. It's
Yeah, I'm
a bunch of
scrolling through it.
nonsense.
Dude. What the fuck was? Hold on.
Talking about the Earth's magnetic fields and then Pepsi's energy fields and how those are analogous.
What was this bottle here in like 1915? What the hell is that?
That
Is
looks like
like
a perfume bottle.
Is it like a seltzer bottle?
I don't
Is
know.
propane accessories.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the YouTube stream, you guys
Whoa!
can't see it, but not to wow, this is so weird. Not to like well, this isn't exactly name dropping, but my wife knows somebody whose daughter, I think, is one of the animators for the upcoming reboot. And they had a picture. I haven't seen it, but they have a picture of adult Bobby and what he looks like. So
Are they
wow.
still doing that? Because
apparently, I thought they weren't because Dale died.
Yeah, because that's what I thought too, dude. Ever since I still watch King of the Hill, like to this day, and every time I watch it now, it's like kind of sad when I remember that.
Yeah,
Right.
it's I thought they were gonna kill it when that happened, and I don't know what. Maybe they recorded so much stuff already that they can use it, or maybe what I thought is they'll just have him, have one of those talk boxes, whatever they're called, for people that are smokers that have to get their larynx taken out.
Yeah,
Like that would be a Dale thing because he smoked more. Oh shoot, what's the brand called in the TV show?
I don't remember.
I have to look this up. It's driving me crazy. All I can think of is Alamo, and that's the beer. That episode where he tries to sue them is so funny. Oh, for crying out loud, what is it called? Cigarettes, King of the Hill.
It's called Manitoba.
Manitoba, yep, there we go. Yeah, he tries to sue them, and it's that's such a good episode. Pretty good sewed, if you know what I mean. What was the last
Or the one
series?
where what is it? Where Peggy's working for the Alamo Beer Company. Yeah, and there's like a cleaner that ends up in the beer, but she can't tell anybody.
Yeah, there's a little bit of soap in it. Well, they lie to her about what it was, and then she finds out La Vomitos? El Diarrhea? So, her horrible Spanish speaking a bit. The episode, my wife and I were joking about the episode where she goes to Mexico and she accidentally kidnaps a little girl, and then she goes on trial. Yeah. And the defense is like, look, if we just tell them that your Spanish is so bad that you didn't understand what she was saying, then they'll be able to they'll drop the charges. And she's like, I can't do that. If people find out I'm terrible at Spanish, then my teaching career is tostada. But the best thing about that whole episode is they have her testify in Spanish, and what she says is complete gibberish. And so the judge realizes it, and then he gives he reads out the decision and says like, because you obviously didn't know what was happening, you're free to go, yada yada yada. But he's saying it all in Spanish because they're in Mexico. And at the end, Peggy goes, "Oh my God, I'm going to jail." That's a great episode. What was the last series any of you finished? For me, it's The Office, and it was like a month ago. We watched the whole thing. Just recently finished.
I just watched the old 1970s version, like the BBC version of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. So, I mean, that's like a short, it's not like a long running series, but that is a series I finished.
There's a couple that I have on like loop, just stuff that I guess you could say fall asleep to. But what is it? It's like American Dad, Futurama, South Park, Regular Show, and Adventure Time. All of those I consistently have watched start to finish for probably since I was like 10.
I forgot about there's new Futurama episodes. I watched like the first 3, but I haven't watched. They're actually pretty good. The one they did last year or whatever that was, there was like half of them were kind of like like they weren't bad, but you just like kind of watched it. The other half were actually pretty funny.
Yeah, they're not bad. It really is a lot like the older episodes. I mean, especially since they got most of the voice cast back, if not all of them. I mean, and once DiMaggio was in, it's like, well, there you go. There's like 3/4 of the characters already.
Did you know he's the voice of Marcus Phoenix in Gears of War?
Yeah, and Jake the dog, and something from Ben 10. I can't remember. Dude, he's voiced like everything.
That's kind of the thing about voice actors.
I don't know. There's some though that like DiMaggio, he's really good at having like unique voices where you might not be able to tell. And there are other ones where the second you hear their voice, you're like, dude, is that this person?
Yeah, like the guy that does Archer, he was Coach McGurk in Home Movies, which was a pretty stupid show on Adult Swim. When Adult Swim first started,
I loved Home Movies.
Yeah, so did I. I loved it too, but it was so the way they were drawn, it looked like they were like, because like the
like
lines were all
squiggly.
yeah, and so the characters, it just looked like the characters were like always like vibrating. It's so badly done, but yeah, Coach McGurk is and Archer and what else has that guy done?
Bob's Burgers. He's in Family Guy. He's got a few different games he's shown up in too. I mean, he's also all over the place, and it's so funny because he just uses his actual voice.
Yeah. I gotta say, I don't like his voice. It sounds like he has it sounds like he tried to swallow a racquetball, but it got stuck, and the doctors were just like, leave it in there. There's something about that voice that just really makes me think like, ugh. You know?
It just makes everything funnier, I think. I like it.
I don't know.
I love the bit in Family Guy where Chris goes to the gas station and he's like, "Hey, I'm trying my new impression of the guy from Bob's Burgers. Hi, I'm Bob from Bob's Burgers," and the voice just doesn't change. That shit was so funny.
All right. Well, any closing words?
Yeah, well, make sure you get your daily intake of at least 83 Andrew Tate videos. And that's about it. That's definitely what you need.
Yeah, go put yourself out there, meet drugs, and don't do people.
And fold the dishes. Fold the dishes. Also, hook 'em horns. That's the actual last word.